For 37 years, I signed nothing. I poured tea, remembered birthdays, listened more than I spoke, and let men with louder voices believe they were in charge. And then my husband died. At the wake, surrounded by marble columns and white orchids flown in from Italy, my daughter-in-law leaned close and whispered, "Now that Robert is gone, we'll finally modernize things. You won't need to come to the office anymore. It's not your world." She smiled as if she were doing me a kindness. My son didn't correct her. That was when I knew exactly what they thought I was. The world had always known Robert Hale as a titan, founder of Hale Maritime, a man who built shipping routes across oceans others feared to cross, a name spoken with respect in ports from Lisbon to Singapore. And I was Eleanor Hale, the woman in pearls, the quiet shadow at his side, the one people greeted politely and forgot immediately after. What they never noticed was that suppliers returned my calls faster than his, that board members softened when I entered a room, that deals stalled when I stopped answering the phone. Robert knew. Late at night, after the guests left and the house fell quiet, he would loosen his tie, sit across from me, and say, "They respect me, but they trust you." Trust doesn't announce itself. It waits. 3 days after the funeral, the house was still heavy with silence. The scent of lilies clung to the air like guilt. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at a cup of untouched tea, when the doorbell rang. A courier. No condolences, no words, just an envelope. Inside was a memo. Office reassignment effective immediately. Advisory presence no longer required. A retirement package enclosed. At the bottom, written quickly, almost impatiently, were the words, "You deserve rest now, Mom." Rest. After decades of building the foundation my son now stood on, I folded the letter once, then twice. Then I burned it. Andrew had always wanted to be his father, but he wanted the power, not the patience, the title, not the responsibility. He believed leadership came from authority. Robert knew it came from loyalty, and loyalty was something Andrew had never learned to earn. What Andrew didn't know, what no one knew, was that 15 years earlier, Robert had made a quiet decision. It was after a board meeting that left him unusually unsettled. He came home late, poured himself a whiskey, and didn't drink it. "They listen to me because I built this," he said, "but they stay because of you." The next morning, he rewrote the corporate trust. Not the public will, not the estate, the company. Every controlling share, every voting right, mine. I never told anyone. I didn't need to. Andrew moved fast, too fast. He hired a new CFO, smooth, charming, ruthless, a man who spoke in percentages and never used names. Within weeks, they decided to optimize. They sent one email to our oldest partners, short, cold, soulless. Prices reduced by 25%. Effective immediately. Non-negotiable. No greeting, no gratitude, no respect. By the next morning, shipments stopped. By evening, ports went silent. Andrew called it a glitch. I called it consequence. I didn't call to threaten. I called to remember, to ask about children, to ask about harvests, to say, "Robert would have wanted me to check on you." And one by one, voices hardened. Not against me, against the boy who thought loyalty could be bullied. When panic replaced arrogance, they finally summoned me. The boardrooms smelled of expensive cologne and fear. Andres stood at the head of the table, pale, shaking. "Mom," he said, "you have to fix this. You always talk to them." The CFO slid documents toward me. Emergency authority, temporary control, a last chance. I didn't look at the papers. I placed one leather folder on the table. Silence. Pages turned, faces drained of color. Andrew's voice barely worked when he asked, "What is this?" I met his eyes. "This," I said, "is the part of your father you never listened to. The truth has weight. It presses down until lies can no longer stand." Andrew resigned before I asked. The CFO was escorted out. No shouting, no revenge, just reality. "You wanted efficiency," I told my son quietly. "You forgot dignity has weight." 6 months later, I stood on a sunlit dock in Greece. No contracts, no lawyers, just bread, wine, and trust. The company survived, stronger, quieter, cleaner, and for the first time in my life, I signed something, my name, as chairwoman. People often mistake silence for weakness, grace for ignorance, kindness for submission. They forget one thing: those who build quietly can reclaim everything without raising their voice.